Ever wondered what happens when a thank you gift is, well, more than just a gift? That question is right at the heart of Malaysian anti-corruption law. Now, it can all seem pretty complicated, I know, but stick with me and we're going to break down exactly what the rules are, who's in charge of enforcing them, and why they matter so much.
So let's start with this. When does a simple token of appreciation, a nice gesture, cross the line into something else, something illegal? This is the core issue, and believe me, the answer isn't always as simple as it looks.
Okay, so corruption is obviously a huge global problem, but the way we fight it is always local, with specific rules. So to really get a handle on Malaysia's approach, we first need to be on the same page about what we're even talking about. At its absolute core, this is what it is. Corruption is about tilting the scales. It's when someone abuses the power they've been given, whether they're in government or even a private company, for their own personal benefit. And this one simple idea, putting yourself ahead of your duty, can show up in a whole lot of different ways. Now, the one form we all know, the one we've all heard about, is bribery. It's the classic example, right? And because it's really the foundation of anti-corruption law, it's the perfect place for us to start digging in.
So here's the crucial thing to get. Bribery is not a one-way street. The law looks at both the person offering the bribe and the official accepting it. And that item of value? The law calls it gratification. But listen, it isn't just about cash. It could be anything. A juicy contract, a big promotion, a fancy car, or even just the promise of one.
Think of it like a recipe with 4 essential ingredients. For something to legally be called bribery, you need all 4. You need a giver, the person offering something. You need a receiver, the official who takes it. But here's the most important part. You have to prove corrupt intent, a clear, provable goal to influence a decision. And what's the end game? Gaining an unfair advantage, like snatching a government contract away from someone who actually deserved it more. You need all 4 for it to stick.
Right, but here's the thing. Bribery is just one piece of the puzzle. The Malaysian legal system is actually set up to catch a much wider net of corrupt activities.
So, beyond straight-up bribery, the law gets really specific. You've got abuse of position. A classic example is an official giving a big contract to their cousin. Then there's making a false claim, which is basically trying to cheat the government or a company with fake paperwork. And there's using office for gratification, which could be something as subtle as accepting an all-expenses-paid vacation right before you approve a building permit. And just so we're clear, these aren't small things. They come with some serious penalties. We're talking long prison sentences and huge fines.
So, we've got the rules of the game laid out, but who are the referees? Well, in Malaysia, that brings us to the one agency at the very center of the fight against corruption.
When you hear about any major corruption case in Malaysia, there are 4 letters that you will see over and over and over again. They stand for the country's main anti-corruption force. And there it is, the MACC, the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission. This is the independent government body that's tasked with investigating and stopping corruption, whether it's happening in the public sector or the private sector. You know, their job is actually way bigger than just making arrests. Of course, they investigate crimes, but a massive part of what they do is all about prevention and education. They don't just wait for a crime to happen. They're out there, proactively trying to fix the systems that let corruption happen in the first place, and teaching the public why this stuff is so damaging for everyone.
So where does the MMCC get all this power from? It's not like they can just do whatever they want. It is all laid out, crystal clear, in one single powerful law, the official rulebook for fighting corruption in Malaysia.
And the key year you need to remember is 2009. This is when the huge MAC Act was passed, and it was a total game changer. It replaced older, weaker laws and created the modern, much more powerful commission we have today, giving them way more independence and authority.
And that's why this act from 2009 is so critical. It's what gives the MAC its teeth. It specifically lays out their powers to investigate, to arrest, and to prosecute. It draws the lines and gives them the tools they need to do their job.
You know, this quote from the act itself really gets to the heart of it all. The end goal isn't just about punishing bad guys. It's about building a whole culture of integrity and accountability, from top to bottom, in both government and business. That's the big picture.
So, we've looked at the rules, the different crimes, and the people who enforce them. But you see, a law like the MAC Act isn't just about punishment. It's really a tool for building transparency. And that leads us with one final big question to think about. Beyond catching criminals, how does a real, deep commitment to transparency actually change the way a whole country works? That's where the real impact is.